If you're a part of any D&D community, be it a website, a community, a Facebook group, whatever, you've probably already heard of this spell. It's taken the D&D world by storm, completely polarized the community into two different groups, and honestly reignited a lot of 3.5 versus 5th edition elitism. Don't believe me? Well, let's just pull up the D&D Beyond page and look at the comments. Yeah, and don't even get me started on Reddit or YouTube. Okay, point taken. Anyways, regardless of whatever side you're on with this controversy, you can at least probably see by now that it's definitely thrown the whole world into chaos. So what is it? Silvery Barbs is a spell that essentially gives a target of your choice disadvantage on a single d20 roll. Except it's not entirely true. There's more to it than that. You see, when I said it gives disadvantage, that was a clever lie, because it's really not that easy to explain. Oops. How this spell works is you can use your reaction to force a target creature to essentially re-roll a d20 and take the lower roll. However, this is completely separate from disadvantage. It goes a lot deeper than that. Since this spell says nothing about disadvantage, you could technically use this on a creature that already has disadvantage and force them to roll 3d20, effectively taking the lowest of those rolls. You see, how disadvantage works is you essentially take 2d20, and whichever dice rolls lower, that is your official roll. Technically speaking though, after the disadvantage roll has been made and they have their official roll, you could then cast Silvery Barbs, effectively forcing them to roll a third d20 and take the lower of all three of those rolls. Meaning that this isn't just disadvantage, this is advanced disadvantage. And that's not even it. When you use the spell, not only does it give this pseudo disadvantage, but you can also choose a different target and give them a pseudo advantage on their next roll. So not only does this essentially give a pseudo disadvantage, you also get a pseudo advantage as well, all for the low cost of a first level reaction spell. Which brings me to another point. Can anyone in this video think of another reaction spell besides Counterspell? Honestly, if you can, congratulations, because there's only like 8 reaction spells in the entire game, but taking Counterspell for this example, Counterspell is a 3rd level spell, and it doesn't give a disadvantage. It instead essentially is a roll-off between you and the target that you're using it on. Counterspell being a 3rd level spell, and Silvery Barbs being a 1st level spell, calls into question the power scaling of each of these. Some believe Silvery Barbs is totally out of whack, and others believe it's very strong. And quite honestly, a roll-off between, triple disadvantage? I'll probably take the triple disadvantage. So by now you're probably saying, well, yeah, it sounds pretty overpowered, but golly gee, Mr. Random Guy on a YouTube video, what do you think? Because I care about your opinion and value your thoughts. Well, here's the thing about it. I actually like this spell. And people are going to hate that. Is it incredibly broken in terms of power? Yes, definitely. Is it arguably one of the most efficient spells in the entire game? Yeah, probably. But you can be damn sure I'm still gonna allow it in my games. And that is for a couple of different reasons. You see, when I run D&D as a DM, I have pretty much 3 very, very strong opinions. These opinions are not even so much opinions so much as they're more like self-governing rules that I impose whenever I'm running a game. One of those rules is the rule of fun, and quite honestly, I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but essentially, if it's fun, why ban it? Why would you go through the extra effort of banning something that people find fun? Completely counterintuitive to what D&D is. It's a game. I hate to break it to you, but it's a game. That being said, if you don't think this spell is fun or you think it could cause a problem, I'm not trying to convince you to put it in the game. I'm just kind of laying out the facts. The second rule that I almost always follow is the rule of cool, and honestly, any self-respecting DM should be following that as well. But my third rule is probably my favorite one, and that is anything the players have access to, so do the NPCs. People seem to forget that the players aren't the only people in the D&D world that have access to the entire spell list. If you have a player that really likes this spell, you can be damn sure I'm going to throw it right back in their face. And that rule right there has single-handedly fixed all of the balance issues that you might think this spell has. D&D isn't a game of balance. It's not a game of comparing additions. It's not a game of winning. It's a game about sharing a fun story with your friends. Take a second before you pass judgment. Think about the effect. Not the effect on the game, but the effect on the players. Once you do that, if you still decide you don't want it in the game, that's perfectly fine. Don't have it in the game. It's as simple as that. But just remember, if you do allow it in the game, you need to make sure that you use it just as much as your players do. Remember, I'm not trying to convince you one way or another, I'm just trying to help you logic it out. Anyways, that's all the time I have for in this video. Have fun, stay safe, and we'll see you on Friday.